guys, welcome back. U.S. law is built on a common law system where the decisions made by the courts change and shape the law over time. So if we're fighting an employment discrimination case right now, we need to know what the law is right now. And that's not always easy because the law is constantly changing. So it's not as simple as looking up a few keywords on Google and reading a few cases. I know a lot of you struggle with case law because you tell me so, and frankly, it was no picnic for me either. So lately I've been trying to step up my case law game in the interest of being able to help you guys even more. So today I want to share not so much what I'm learning, we'll get to that in future videos, but how I've been learning it. And a lot of that has been reading Casebooks. Casebooks are a cross between a collection of stories, the cases, and an encyclopedia of employment law. And there are a whole bunch of casebooks out there by different authors, and they're all different in some way, but they're also a lot the same. We can just look up a subject in the index, and the casebook will walk us through that subject in detail, using real cases to illustrate. And that does a couple things for us. It gives us a feel for how the law has evolved over time, and more importantly, it gives us a look into how judges and lawyers think about these cases. Now, don't get me wrong, reading individual cases can be helpful. I mean, that's all I did when I was fighting my case. But at times, I have to admit, it did seem like I was trying to learn to drive by reading a driver's manual. And I mean, you learn a lot that way, but it doesn't exactly prepare you for all the snags you're going to hit once you get out there on the road. These casebooks are more like taking driver's ed, where you learn the basics and the rules, but you also learn how to drive. Now, the casebook will probably begin by discussing the statutes and some landmark cases. And much like driver's ed teaches you what it's like out there on the road, casebooks start with the fundamentals and progress into situations that are more complicated or unclear. And it's illustrated with real cases that have set new standards and refined the case law themselves. And we start to see how much specific situations or details really matter when courts are addressing questions like, was this really retaliation or just bad management? And we also see that courts don't always agree on how cases should be analyzed or the law should be interpreted. We see how disagreements at the circuit level find their way to the Supreme Court and how the Supreme Court makes decisions about those cases once they get there. One of the things that I really like about casebooks is that the SCOTUS cases usually include the dissenting views too. The dissents give us insight into alternate legal arguments that can spark ideas about how we can argue our own cases in a more compelling way. And it gives us insight into how different judges think and make decisions, so that we learn a bunch of ways that courts weigh evidence, analyze pretext, infer retaliatory intent, assess credibility, and so on. And from all that, we start to understand why lawyers are always telling us there's no slam dunks here. One court might see harassment where another just sees a jerk boss. Same actors, same facts, different court. Law schools use casebooks along with other tools to teach lawyers how to think about the law, so why not read some of that for ourselves? But casebooks do have a downside. They're expensive. The latest version of the casebooks that I've been reading would cost me around $200 to $300 a piece, but I was able to find used copies for around $40. And sometimes you can get them for even less. I'll leave some links in the description to where I bought mine, so you can check those out. And if you find good sites, let me know. The only caution I have about used casebooks is that you want to be careful that the casebook you're buying hasn't been superseded by changes in the statutes. Congress amended Title VII in 1991 and the ADA in 2008, and I'm sure there are other changes as well. And of course, new cases are being decided every day, so we're still going to have to use tools like AI and Google Scholar to fill in the gaps. And that brings me to a quick side note. If you decide to read the casebooks, take a look at some of the questions at the end of whatever section you're reading and talk through some of the key principles with AI, like you might talk to another law student if you were actually in law school. And you can do it in plain language. Now, of course, just reading a casebook can't give us the same level of knowledge that an experienced employment attorney has, but it has helped me get a better handle on a lot of things that I didn't really understand before. I do have some other case law tools that I want to share with you guys, but for today we're going to stop here. Next time, we're going to be looking at a new artificial intelligence engine that one of you sent me a link to after my last video on ChatGPT. And I'm pretty excited about that one. So I'll see you then. Meanwhile, take care and hang in.